All right, hey guys, it's Mr. Middleton here, and today we're going to talk about perimeter and area. At the end of this video, you should be able to find the perimeter and area of composite figures. Okay, so as we start, let's talk about what perimeter is. Perimeter is the distance around a shape. Okay, on the outside, around, however you think of that. It is a one-dimensional measurement, okay, and that's why its label would be something like yards, inches, feet, things like that. Okay, area is how much space a shape covers. Okay, it is a two-dimensional measurement. Okay, and this is why its label would be squared. Okay, so inches squared, centimeters squared, kilometers squared. Two. Okay, the units are very important. For example, okay, we would say something like 12 inches, and we would say something like 144 inches squared. Not that these are linked, just random numbers. The important part is, oops, don't want to do that, is the measurements. Okay, all right, so let's look at an example. It says, find the perimeter and area of a rectangle with base of 5 feet and a height of 54 inches. So first thing that I do want you to notice here is that we're given two different units. These are things that we need to make sure that we pay attention to. This is 5 feet, this is 54 inches, okay? We don't want to do math in different units. So I'm going to make sure that I convert it so that we're talking about the same thing. 5 feet, pretty simple to convert to inches. 54 inches isn't really, we'd have to use decimals or fractions to convert to feet. So I'm going to change this to inches. 5 feet, and a foot is 12 inches. So I'm going to say, hey, this is 60 inches. Okay, first of all, before I start. Okay, so I'm going to draw my picture of it because I think pictures just make life a little bit easier, less thinking. So this is going to be 54 inches, and this is going to be 60 inches. When I look at my perimeter, again, I'm just measuring around my figure. 108 plus 120 is 228. For my area, length times width, right? 54 times 60. I'll use a calculator for that. 3,240. And that's going to be inches squared. Inches squared, or inches. Okay, again, important for us to make sure we pay attention to the labels here in two ways. First, that we're saying squared or not squared, right, depending on what it is, and that we're paying attention to the units. So two ways there. A pool has the dimensions of 15 feet by 20 feet. The pool has a deck surrounding it that's 3 feet wide. How much would it cost to build a fence around this area if fencing is $12 per foot? Okay, so here's how we'll do it. We need to make sure that we know how much fence we need, right? So as we talk about the fence, remember that we don't want to just pull in the fence. Otherwise, we have to jump over the fence to swim, and worse, jump over the fence to get out of the swimming pool, right? So we have a 3-foot walking path or deck around it. And so how wide will this fence have to be? Well, it was 15 feet from end to end of the pool, adding 3 here and 3 here. It'll make this dimension of our rectangle 21 feet, right? Same thing here. This is 3 feet and this is 3 feet. So where it was 20 feet, now this dimension is going to be 26 feet. Okay, now it says how much would it cost to build a fence around the area? Well, $12 per foot. Let's see how many feet there are. 52 plus 42, which is 94. Right, 26 plus 26 is 52, 73, 94. So 94 feet is our perimeter. Again, we want to make sure that we're answering the question. Our question says, how much money would it cost? So $12 per foot, so 94 times 12, $1,128 for that fence around our pool. All right, again, math there is not complicated. Just making sure that we stay organized and answer the question as they asked it. So next part now, how much did the concrete deck cost if the concrete costs $2.50 per square foot? So we're gonna have to find two things. We're gonna have to find the area of the pool, and we're gonna have to find the area of the concrete. And this is our thought process through it. Okay, so our thought process here is, what's the area of this pool? It should be pretty straightforward. 15 times 20, it's a rectangle. So is that 300? 300 square feet. Now, although we want to really just go straight into it and say, okay, what's the area of the concrete deck? Because that's all we really care about. In this case, we're not paying for the pool in this instance, but we can't do that. What we have to do is find the area of this entire space as of now, because we don't know how to find the area of a picture frame just based off of formula. So we have the dimensions already, 21 feet by 26 feet. 21 times 26, 546. And so we see that this whole thing here should be, what would we say, 526 or 546? 21 times 26, 546. This whole thing here is 546. So if the whole thing's 546 and the pool's 300, then we can get that at 246. That's how much square feet our concrete deck is. And then we get the price per square foot is 250. So we multiply that by 250. 246 times 2.5 gives us $615. And those weren't what we call composite figures because they're just rectangles. Composite figures is when we have to do a little bit more than using kind of a formula. We have to kind of make our shapes. And so here is an example here. Composite figures says find the perimeter of the area of each composite figure. So perimeter and area. Perimeter, remember, is on the outside. We want to know how far everything is. So important thing, like I would tell you to do, is to label the sides that aren't labeled. We'll have to go through reasoning here. And so the first reasoning that I'm going to go through is like, hey, I noticed that this isn't labeled. Like I'd really like this to be labeled. I'd really like this to be labeled before I knew my perimeter. Okay, so let's see what that would be. So as I look at this spot, I see that this whole side's 10 and this is 6. So it's kind of a rectangle. This rest of it should be the rest of 10. So with that in mind, I can say, okay, well, this should be 4 meters, right? 4 plus 6 is 10. Again, this whole side's 15 and this is 4. Should be a straight line. That must mean that this is the rest of it. This is 11. Okay, and so now I'm just going to be careful, make sure I go around and add all the numbers that I see. 10, 25, 29, 33, 39, 40, 50. So my perimeter is 50 meters. My area, I'm going to break it down into some manageable shapes. So I have this little square here, 4 times 4, 16. And then I have this thing, which is going to be 10 times 11, 110. So add those together, I have 126 meters squared. So again, we're labeling the things, and I'm going to start by looking at what we have given to us. So this whole thing is 10. So as I look horizontally, I should add to 10. 3, 6, 8. That must mean that right there left is 2. Okay. What else do we have? So this is 6 and this is 3. That's 9. So on this side we should have 9 as well. So I have 3, 6, 9. Okay. Making sure that everything is labeled, and I see now that everything is labeled. Okay, great. So now for my perimeter, I can just add all my stuff together. 3, 5, 8, 10, 13, 16, 22, 25, 28, 38. My perimeter is 38 centimeters. For my area, again, I'm going to break it down into some manageable things with some labels that I can use. See that? Okay. All right, there we go. Got it. So now as I look at this piece, I have a 3 by 10, right? So the bottom layer of this cake is 30 centimeters squared. The second layer, this is 2 and this is 3, right? So this is a 5 by 3, 15 centimeters squared. And this top layer is 3 by 3, so it's 9 centimeters squared. So I can add all these together, 24, 54 centimeters squared. Okay, and that's just labeling and making sure you're organized with your answers.